long-running property crisis and Trump's unprecedented tariffs, the Chinese economy has held up surprisingly well. Domestically, declines in property investment have been mostly offset by increased investment in high-tech manufacturing. And
kind of
while
mongrel
exports
would be
to the
SW.
US have fallen
Luckily, they
somewhat,
got destroyed and she destroyed her party.
as you might expect.
Luckily.
Chinese producers have apparently been able to offset any decline by just redirecting their exports elsewhere, including to Europe. Nonetheless, in the past month or so, the Chinese economy has shown new signs of strain, and a combination of debt and deflation take their toll on industry. So in this video, we're going to explain how the
this is just me yapping uneducatedly. I would guess that China will slowly walk into a modern capitalist society where you have like this ruling class of rich people, people that make a lot of money, good businesses, but then also you have like a big millions of people that are really on minimum wage and it's not going well and they can't really do much. You just create what happens to every country, this dystopian thing where you have people that are doing well and the rest that can just suck a lot of dicks.
The economy outperformed expectations over the past couple of years. And what's gone wrong?
I have really weird questions. I don't know shit. What is the minimum wage in China? They probably don't have one. Minimum wage in China? I don't think they have one, right? China has no... Yeah, that makes no sense for 1.3 billion people. Rather, each province does it on its own. Shanghai, like a big city, has... oh, how much was that? Divided by 5, wasn't it? I guess like $5 or some shit. Shut up. Shanghai has an $18... That's like better than the USA. You gotta be shitting me. Okay, for example, Guangxi is not doing so well. Dude, China is fucking us all. If this is like $10... Dude! Per month. Yeah, per month. Oh, per month! Oh, it's per month! Oh, they're fucked! Oh, sorry. Sorry, yeah. Thank you, guys. Holy shit, they're fucked! Damn, bro. That's what I mean. With like you have a rich class and then the rest is just fucking shit poor, man. Holy moly.
Have you ever wondered how much...
There was yuan, not yen. Man, verdammt, it's not much money, okay? It's not much that they're getting.
money TLDR makes each year. Or who's funding our journalism? Well, we think transparency is super important. So we answer both questions.
That's why they have such a good economy, because labor is so cheap.
In the description. So to understand China's current economic woes, you need to understand how the Chinese economy is fundamentally unbalanced. In short, GDP is defined...
I'll never forget in China, it's super crazy in China, their biggest bill is the 100 bill, but everything costs 500. It's really weird. Imagine you live in the US, but you only have $5 bills and no $10 bills. Very awkward in China. They need bigger bills, man. You would often leave the house with a bundle of like this much money and shit.
Spending, business investment, household consumption, and the difference between exports and imports.
Isn't that once again yen and not renminbi?
In China, consumption accounts for a lower than average share of GDP.
But they have electronic pay everywhere. Yeah, Germany's so behind, man. You go to Thailand, Singapore, the UK, everything with the phone, right? Everywhere you pay with your phone. Beep, beep. But Germany is like, ich gucke mal, ob ich noch Kleingeld habe. Warten Sie mal. 1, 2. Warten Sie mal, das war 10er. Nee, warte mal, ja, 5er vielleicht.
While investment
The Germans know.
account for a higher than average share. A recent analysis by the University of Groningen found that, in 2019, household consumption accounted for 39% of China's GDP, compared to a global average of about 60%. For context, in most large European countries, household consumption accounted for about 50% of GDP. In India, it accounted for about 65%, and in the US, it accounted for about 70%. This is largely because, through a
electronic pay is dystopian. Wrong, ultra wrong, wrong. Let me destroy you. You are so wrong, and you're a puppet of the billionaires. It is proven so much by studies. We just saw it lately in a German political TV show. One of the best ways, one good way to stop money laundering, what all the fucking Arab clans and stuff are doing, man, is electronic pay. Cash is fucking terrible. The Gewerkschaft, The Union of Tax Attorneys in Germany is estimating up to 100 to 200 billion euros a year are going away under black money, fucking laundering, etc. man. And using electronic pay will be a great move against this mafia fucking bullshit. Wrong.
Including an undervalued currency, China essentially underpays its workers, keeping them poor and...
Come to Germany, man. Go to any... Dude, nothing against the Turks. I love their food. Go to any store. Hello, sorry, we take no card. Hey.
Keeping China's exports competitive. Conversely, investment accounts for a disproportionately large share of Chinese GDP. World Bank data, for instance, suggests that investment made up 41% of Chinese GDP in 2023, compared to a global average of 23%. Again, to give some more context, in India, investment accounted for about 33% of GDP, and in the US, it was 21%. In and of itself, lots of investment isn't a bad thing, but too much investment can lead to a country producing essentially too much stuff. This is sort of what's happened in Chinese industry. China produces more stuff than its population can consume, which is why it runs persistent trade surpluses.
What's the source for that? Let's show on stream last stream.
China's property sector. Chinese property developers essentially built too many houses, hence those infamous videos of China's ghost cities, and then had to take out unsuccessful.
When I lived in China, I will take walks here.
Hence those.
I will go out at night. It was one of my favorite things in the world. I love that. In Chongqing, there was everywhere, and at night, like it was really awkward in China. At like between 8 and 10 p.m., there was billions of people on the street. There was women dancing every night. They were dancing and stuff. And then all of a sudden, midnight, everyone is home, like a curfew, right? And I will never forget one of the most beautiful stuff of my life. I was like alone at midnight, and I'm just walking with headphones. I'm just walking. It was some of the greatest stuff. I don't know, man. It felt so amazing. I'll never forget that feeling, man.
Ghost cities, and then had to take
for some reason at midnight, everyone gone
to keep themselves afloat.
Like it's mandatory.
As you might remember, to remedy this, in late 2020, the CCP introduced the so-called 3 red lines, which essentially limited how much debt developers could take on. This was terrible news for heavily indebted developers like Evergrande, and triggered a dramatic slowdown in China's property market. Now, usually you'd expect this sort of slowdown.
This happens 10 p.m. in Germany? Dude, where I live, if I go out at night, man, bruh, there's so much fucking stuff happening here at night in Germany.
A reduction in investment,
so many junkies and young people and stuff.
And potentially a decrease in consumption, as homeowners cautiously pare back their spending.
Nightlife is not really a thing in Asia.
Declines in property prices. However,
what I felt in China, this is how I felt about Chinese culture. You have a city, like 20 million people. And in Germany, it's a bit like there's a party here, there's a drunk guy here, and a party here. But China, to me, felt like Chongqing. You have one main hub. If you want to party and be nightlife, everyone has to go to this hub. If you do it here, man, this is going to be a problem. We don't want you here. If you want to party, you go right fucking here, nowhere else. Where I feel like in Germany, it's a bit more spread in a way.
Happen. Instead, as this very helpful graph by Brad Setzer at the Council on Foreign
China's fixes term asset investment change.
Investment was essentially redirected from property into manufacturing.
Yeah, they love their cars now.
This was largely a consequence of the CCP's practice of setting...
It's like if you play Victoria Free and you subsidize a product, that product will fill the world market and you're crushing it. Like China has the power with the subsidies to take any product and just subsidize it and become a king of it.
GDP targets
it's pretty strong.
For provincial governments. For context, unlike the rest of the world, where GDP growth is measured as an output of statistical authorities at the end of the year, in China, the central government sets GDP targets for provincial governments at the beginning of the year. In other words, GDP isn't just an output, but also an input. Under pressure to hit their GDP
government
targets,
subsidies matter.
Local governments...
Which party is the #1 subsidy party in Germany? The Greens.
Essentially just redirected their investment spending from property into other...
I remember when you have a 10 renminbi bill in China, you couldn't buy anything with that. Maybe a bottle of water, man.
Especially politically favourable ones identified as new productive forces by the CCP. For a while, this strategy seemed to be working. While there was indeed a mismatch between consumption and production, Chinese producers were able to bridge the gap with exports. In other words, selling their surplus to foreign consumers. This helped boost GDP growth and allowed China to establish market dominance in high-tech industries.
So it sounds really good.
Like
Isn't this video about how they're not doing well?
Even when Trump's tariffs kicked in, which obviously made it harder for Chinese producers to sell to the US, exports held up impressively well, with Chinese exporters redirecting their surplus to Europe.
So we gotta say, statistically, factually speaking, Trump fucked up. These tariffs don't do shit. They even hurt America. They just redirect their exports somewhere else, to like Europe.
Other markets
It's hurting
in Southeast
Americans.
Asia and Latin America. You can see this if you break down China's most recent export data by region. While exports to the US have indeed fallen compared to 2024, exports to the rest of the world have held steady or increased. However, this strategy always felt somewhat unsustainable. Other countries were neither economically able nor politically willing to absorb China's surplus forever. And even though exports were holding up relatively well,
Did you see
China
the
was
election
still
in
clearly
Norway?
producing.
If so,
It's
any
funny, my
thoughts?
friend, that today I'm looking at the news. I look at all the news in the world, but buddy, there's not a single cell, not a single viewer that gives a shit about the Norwegian election. I love you, buddy. All the best to Norway, but no one on this planet gives a shit.
Too much, as evidenced by the brutal price wars we saw in industries like solar panels and EVs recently. Price wars aren't necessarily
BYD,
bad,
that sounds like a
but
crypto
in
coin.
China, they contributed to the pre-existing deflation crisis and encouraged affected companies
Sven
and the local
versus
government
Jürgen.
supporting them to take out unsustainable amounts of debt in an attempt
I also remember
to
when I was in
survive.
China, I always was very arrogant that I felt like China is a backwater bum country. But man, if you're in a big city in China, it's like you're in cyberpunk, man.
Price wars.
It's
This
so
is a big
futuristic.
reason why China's total debt now stands at over 300% of GDP, up from about 200% only a decade ago. Anyway, it now looks like this strategy is indeed running out of road. Prices can't go much lower, and affected companies can't take out much more debt.
Chongqing is
which
mental.
is why, according to the
The
latest
inner city
data
of
released
Chongqing,
from
man, if you
China's
saw that
National
shit,
Bureau
man,
of
that fucking,
Statistics,
that's the most
in
futuristic
July,
shit I've ever
growth
seen.
in both manufacturing and
That was
infrastructure
ridiculous.
investment declined dramatically. More generally, both industrial
What's the most
production
cyberpunk city in
and
China? Chongqing. Maybe I can show you. I was right here. It was almost too much. It was more capitalism than America could ever do. Chongqing, downtown. This shit is insanity, bro. At night. I was always right here, all the time, me and my group. There was a bar here, I had my first date right here with the French girl. Everyone will go here, man. Fucking cyberpunk, bro. It was crazy. That's Jingfang Bay, I think it's called. Jingfang Bay. Yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. But as you walk around, man, you see also a lot of, like, bad stuff. You also see a lot of poverty and shit. Like, I would hang here all the time. There's like a waterfall in between. I want to show that market square. They're all showing the same thing. Oh, I show speed was in Chongqing. I can show it right now. Whatever. There was like this big shopping district, which was insanity, man.
Corporate investment fell markedly, with fixed asset investment falling from about 4% growth year on year.
Did it look the same when you were there? I don't remember, honestly.
6% in July,
I
and
don't remember
industrial
much.
production falling from 6.8%.
But Chongqing will blow your fucking brains out, man.
7% in July. This is in part.
Oh,
because
there's a package for Lisa. 1 sec, I gotta take a break. The Mossad bomb package.
domestic demand has
Why were you in China? It was an exchange student program for law school. I got a law master in economic law there. It was crazy. It was one of the craziest time of my life. And I always say to young people watching the stream, if I could influence you, I'm out of breath from nothing, is you should try to take a foreign semester. And far away. Dude, if you study in Germany, don't do a semester in France, man. Get out. Go to fucking Brazil or Mexico or China. I think that was one of the craziest experiences of my life. Fucking insane, dude.
weakened.
You guys should
further,
really get out.
with year-on-year growth
see the
in
world.
retail sales.
And really,
falling
like,
to a
lived there for 6
low
months,
of
man. It's fucking insane.
3.7%. Presumably, at least in part,
And it
because
really humbles you. It
consumers
gives
are
you a lot of
responding to
perspective on
deflation
life.
by paring back their spending. Weak domestic
Not
demand
Brazil,
will
though.
obviously make things even harder for China's embattled producers, because, well, weak demand makes it harder to sell stuff.
And again, even you ugly cunt, look at me, you will get laid in China. If you do a semester in China, man, like in the middle of China with less foreigners, man, dude, the girls literally throw themselves at you. If you cannot, I always say this, if you can't get laid in China, man, you might as well just fucking turn gay or some
Weak
shit. I don't know
demand
what the fuck
also
you're doing.
seems to have restarted China's property crisis.
Yeah. That doesn't look too good. But I remember everyone has an AC. Everyone has an AC, bro. That looks like
With
Chongqing.
Home prices in urban areas,
That looks like
which seem
Chongqing.
to have stabilised somewhat in late 2024, resuming their declines in the past couple of months. All in all, this is yet more evidence that China needs to boost consumption as a share of GDP.
Every time I watch their videos, I feel like I learned nothing. Okay, I feel like I learned nothing.
She slipped through my fingers like sand. Heard that she got a man. Now I'm just sitting here sad. Oh well, ship sail. She slipped through my fingers like sand.